His Majesty King Prachatipak, or Rama VII, gave His Royal Highness Prince Mahidol and Princess Sangwan's youngest son the name. His Royal Highness Prince Bhumibol Adulyadej. Which bears significance in its meaning, strength of the land whose might it is to be incomparable.
Ever since His Majesty assumed the top post as head of state, the magnitude of the problems facing the country has brought with it a seemingly endless load of hard work for him. Even today, when His Majesty is nearing the age of 80, he has never wavered from the moral principles of the sovereign, as has been the case all through the past 60 years.
For the Thai populace in the post-war years, especially after the country had just lost their beloved King Ananda 4 years earlier, the grand coronation ceremony rekindled hope and boosted morale among the people. His Majesty entered the canopy for a ceremonial bath, while His Majesty, seated on the throne inside the canopy, a shower of lustral water consisting of that taken from the 5 holy rivers in India and the kingdom's 4 sacred ponds was turned on over him, according to the royal tradition handed down since ancient times. The water is reminiscent of one of the things His Majesty took interest as well as pleasure in as a child. Grom Luang Washirayanawong, the Supreme Patriarch, poured sacred water on His Majesty. These religious rites seemed a far cry from the subjects of science and engineering His Majesty studied at the University of Lausanne, where he still functioned as Prince Bhumibol, the royal brother, close at the side of His Majesty King Ananda Mahidol, who was concentrating on areas pertaining to ruling and kingship. His Majesty was dressed in full traditional ceremonial royal attire at the Paisan Taksin throne hall, where he was seated on the octagonal throne. From that moment onwards, His Majesty's course of life as royal brother completely changed in the manner no one had foreseen. Even though His Majesty had never prepared himself for the role of a king, the Princess Mother's long years of stalwart and ingenious guidance given to her sons and daughter proved in turn to be of great benefit to the nation. His Majesty received lustral water symbolizing his acceptance to rule over the kingdom in 8 compass points. The burden of kingship compelled His Majesty to divert from science, his favourite subject, to social and political sciences. Besides, as His Majesty became well versed in languages, both Thai and foreign, the knowledge thus gained was then put to good use. The royal prodigious achievement and benevolence have in later years pervaded the entire kingdom and beyond. His Majesty, seated on the Patara bit throne beneath a 9-tiered white umbrella of state. His Majesty received the gold plate inscribed with his full name. His Majesty is a king who had since his early childhood been significantly influenced by the Princess Mother's inclination for an unassuming, simple lifestyle, rational thinking, moral principles and lifelong learning. Receiving the items of the royal regalia, the royal robes and resplendent garments, along with the royal set of arms, His Majesty took up upon himself all the burden that came with the role of Siamese head of state. He thus officially became the 9th ruler of the royal house of Chakri. At the time, the country was still plagued by poverty, land exploitation, dried up streams and rivers, and threatening diseases. The central government had not been able to tackle their problems, so it was inevitable that the people came to pin their hopes on this sacred ceremony and what was to ensue. In the midst of the grand audience that he gave, His Majesty delivered the vow in uttering his first royal words. We shall reign with righteousness for the benefits and happiness of the Siamese people.